Good morning, football fans, especially Jet fans. Lifelong Jet fan here, Tony the GM. We're going to talk about information and how to draft a quarterback. Okay. If you're not spending at least 40 hours as a novice looking at a quarterback, you will never get the right information. Now, if you're looking at what I'm seeing here, Ty Simpson versus South Carolina, every throw and rush. This is for anyone to look at, okay? There's two stages of looking for a quarterback. You got another one, Ty Simpson versus Georgia. Every throw from Ty Simpson is out there for you to see. Instead of watching it and seeing why I believe he won't make it in the pros, you guys just follow the same exact path that led to failures in the past. There are three reasons why Ty Simpson is another Zach Wilson. Now, you guys need to research why. I ask everyone now if they have an opinion on a quarterback, state why. I took a class yesterday, on actual digital abuse, where people don't, they just speak without research. They defend and they don't care, okay? They have an opinion and they don't look deep into it. This is a problem in our society today. You guys really need to research what you talk about. Now, you constantly say the same things that lead to missing on this quarterback position. Okay. If you constantly go down the stat path where you just say you had 20 touchdowns and 1 interception, why isn't Brendan Sorsby from Cincinnati highly touted this year? Why isn't he up there in discussions? It's the same thing. I haven't even looked at Sorsby because he's so down the list of quarterbacks to draft. I mean, I do an hour and a half a day as a hobby. That's 8 to 10 quarterbacks, draftable quarterbacks a year. Now tell me the difference between Brendan Sorsby and Ty Simpson. Look at the highlight films, okay? Tell me the difference between the two. I'll tell you the difference. I would rather draft Sorsby, and I don't use highlight films, okay? There are 3 clear-cut reasons why Ty Simpson is not a high first-round pick. He's not a first-round pick at all. And instead of saying, the experts say, or you can't disagree, you need to look, okay? You could look at 2 games from Ty Simpson, the South Carolina game, and the first game, the Florida game alone, just those 2 games, and you will see why he's not a high-end NFL quarterback draft pick. Everybody does this. Everybody buys the hype. Now, go back to Tyler Shuck. The entire country was out on Tyler Shuck. The Saints weren't out on Tyler Shuck. Tony the GM, was not out on Tyler Shuck. I love Tyler Shuck. Why? Because you're using the wrong information. You put him to the side because of age. Like the 96% of quarterbacks who fail, drafted after the third round, did you check their age? The 88% drafted in the second round that failed, did you check their age? The over 50%, it's actually more than, less than 50% that actually become decent quarterbacks. Some of them become starting quarterbacks, but they still are lower end, bottom 15 quarterbacks in the NFL. Okay? They constantly miss the position. Now you're looking at absolute talent with Tyler Shuck, but you're coming up with the wrong reasons as to why, not to draft them. Okay? You need to look at the actual tape. You need to look at every single play. Now, I say things that you've never heard before, okay, at a high level. You need to evaluate using level of competition and team support. People never bring that up at a high level. It needs to have a part of an evaluation system. If this was done on some of these busts, you'll see that they don't belong in the pros. Now the next one, the definition of on talent. It is horrible what fake evaluators and the experts that give you information. They have no idea what on talent is. Okay? Throwing at one speed, that's not on talent. You need to have the ability to throw with touch. You need to have an easy release. Okay? You can't struggle on a throw. My next point comes after on talent. Okay? The overextended athlete. This is an important one. If you are playing at your highest possible level, physical level, against the competition you're playing in college, you need to raise that a couple of levels to reach high-end NFL defenses. What you do in college on certain types of plays will not work in the pros against much better athletes and much better defenses. This is all logic. They miss on this all the time. Now, it's there's so many things to see. There's so many things. Another thing that I mentioned that nobody mentions, okay, is why is a quarterback throwing one speed? The majority of times is for a lack of processing. They're making up for the lack of processing. A great quarterback could process quickly and go through progressions. This is another issue. If you're not seeing progressions in college, you're drafting a system quarterback. You only could do certain things. People are not watching the tape. They aren't. It is clear cut. If you watch certain things, you will differentiate between a bust and an athlete who has a very good chance, a quarterback who has a very good chance if he is supported in the pros. Now, going back to Tyler Shuck. Okay, I'm not even going to start talking about Sorsby because I am very transparent. I have not looked into Sorsby. And I might start looking into Sorsby because already just by peeking at a highlight film, I see certain things that are different than the other 20 touchdown, 1 interception quarterback. People are hyping the wrong quarterbacks, guys. Now, I also, one other thing before I get back to Shuck. I constantly talk about Northeast football needing a big-armed, strong-arm quarterback with high-end arm talent who could follow up progressions. You cannot run in the weather of the Northeast when it starts getting colder. You can't run a system, non-progression system in New York, New England, Buffalo. Now you're playing 6-year games, okay? Automatically you're playing 4 games with those 2 teams, okay? That's 25% of your schedule. You're playing the rest of your schedule at home, 8, 9 games at home. It's another 7 games, okay? Over half your schedule. Then you might go to another cold weather place. You don't know the opportunities you have to have bad weather, okay? You want to see Bo Nix come to New York in yesterday's rain? We saw how he looked you want to see Zach Wilson come to New York in yesterday's rain? It's not going to be a good outcome for the quarterback. We need to have a certain type of quarterback. Now going back to Tyler Shook, complete miss. Complete miss. If you look at his actual tape from his first game, Todd Bowles was blitzing him consistently. He was making extremely hot reads right off the bat. He was making second progression anticipation throws. He tried high-end NFL throws, okay? This is what you want in your quarterback. Now, another thing that I bring up consistently is the ability to build chemistry with your players. I brought up Aaron Rodgers coming to the Jets not working. Clear-cut reason. Aaron Rodgers played for an organization that supported him 1,000%, and he had the chance to build record-breaking chemistry in the NFL. The majority of his offense was always on his team the prior year. There was never a learning curve. The majority of new starters, okay, especially linemen, sat for a year. So they were also on the team before they took over. Aaron Rodgers only had, I believe, 3 linemen who were free agent linemen in the course of his career at Green Bay. Of those, 2 of them were only 1-year contracts, and they were older vets who were in their, I believe, 12th and 13th years. So they were very, very good players who came over for 1 year at the end of their careers. Another one was an ex-Jet that played a couple of years, which is very telling. Let's not make the same mistakes over and over, guys. The information's there. Take a hard look. I'll say it again. Ty Simpson is a bust in New York. And it's not even close. You could tell me why. Try to leave it in the comments. There's 3 reasons. Figure it out, guys. Take care.